In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apollo Racing Club INDYCAR. It is time for the Indianapolis 250. My name is Keegan, and I am bringing you all the action tonight with my two good friends, Nick and Will. How are you two doing tonight, Nick? This is going to be a fantastic race. So, yeah, answer all those questions in that order.
Well, I am doing well. I'm very excited to see how this qualifying is going to shake out. We're here with one car. Obviously, that is going to set the field for this 250-mile race. Very excited to see, but I'm doing great and looking forward to some IndyCar action.
How about you, Will?
Same here. It's great to be back home again in Indiana with a field of quite a few cars tonight. I believe we have 20 or 21 cars on track, so should be an interesting race, jam-packed full of action, and hopefully some of these guys can avoid the struggles with understeer here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Indeed, indeedy do. 21 cars, you are right. That is our current prospective field for the night. And this is a bit of a longer race, too, than we're typically used to racing here at Apollo Racing Club. 250 miles, or my mind's completely just...
It's 100 laps.
I'm not having a good night tonight. Yeah. I can't brain tonight. Brain no worky, yo. But yeah, 100-lap race tonight, which is a bit longer than we're typically used to here. Typically, we only run about third length for the IndyCar series.
And speaking of brain, tonight we're going to have an in-car commentator as well. That'll be MLG God, but he mentioned earlier to us that his brain is, what did he say? Something like a fishbowl, and is not willing to do that under green. So when we get to a couple cautions here, inevitably at some point, we'll get MLG in here to give you guys a little bit of insight on what's going on out on track.
We will almost certainly have a few cautions tonight. And actually, come to think of it, our on-track reporter He's already setting blistering times, 39.2 for MLG God. Provisional poll, unless someone can come up and do better. Comrade Question currently beating him. Stewie K a bit further back. But yeah, MLG God, he's actually our closest winner, or sorry, our previous winner of this race in Season 4. He did win it. And him and Comrade actually have a little bit of a rivalry too. For those of you who don't know, who haven't been watching ARC for multiple seasons, back during Season 3, Comrade Question actually dove MLG God in Turn 4 on the final lap to try and take the win, but he ended up wrecking them both. So, that just has a tendency to happen on this oval.
Well, looking at this lineup, here it is. MLG God on the pole today. So a great accomplishment for him, and it'll be exciting to hear from him later on throughout the race. Second, we got Games, and then third, Eric Ensu. So a good top three.
That's followed up by Frankenfoot on the outside of row 2 as we start 2 wide here at Indianapolis, which is weird for me to see. Sir Harry on in the third row there on the inside, followed by QQ Tank, Kriegs, David McCourt, Pop Dog, and Comrade Question rounding out the top 10. Pretty solid top 10 there. I think it'll be very competitive.
Indeed. I get the feeling that a lot of our cautions are coming from further back. Nick Jadu, Charles Bertrand, Matthew Rice, Kiko, and EV rounding out the top 15. Rita, Cricket Sushi, one of our perennial road racers. Hallucinogen, Possum, and Stewie K rounding out the top 20.
Yep, and then pulling up the rear, Ona D-Stack 21st and Rogue in 22nd. Now, obviously, if you have been watching, David McCourt has been leading this season, starting from that 8th position today. I would not be surprised if he can quickly find his way up to the front.
It's all about the fuel window here at Indianapolis, though. Fuel window for this race is about 28 to 33 laps, so it's going to be a 3-stop race, almost certainly. I don't really see a way that you get to the end on a 2-stop when it's a 100-lap race, and you have about a 33-lap window. So there's going to be a whole lot of strategy coming into this, and are you going to settle down for a while? Do you want to lead? That's always the biggest question with the Indy 500 as well, is how much do you want to be out front? Will, I mean, you do this in real life. What's the big difference between being out front and kind of following along?
Well, obviously the big difference is you've got clean air, right? So you're not having to mess with the tools as much through turns 1 and 3 are really that struggle. With getting the aero push, it washes you up towards the outside. But the drawback of that is you are burning a lot more fuel. You are not getting any sort of draft from anybody, obviously. So you're going to chew through your fuel cell like nothing, which is where strategy really comes into play. I know a lot of guys in iRacing, when they're leading on ovals like this, maybe not so much Indy because it's a little bit harder to pass here, but just ovals in general. A lot of guys try not to lead throughout the main portion of the race just to try and save fuel, stay in a draft, and then try and make a move as you get towards the end of the final stint. But I would really say that the two big things there are the pro is clean air and the con is massive fuel burn. So definitely super important on strategy here at Indianapolis. I know you mentioned David McCourt, Nick. He's besides outpacing everybody this year on most of the tracks we've been to, he's also been absolutely flawless at strategy. So I would not be surprised if we see him up front, but we have quite a few new names here as well. So I'm excited to see how they fare with the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, it does seem like we get a few different entrants here, depending on whether we're racing at an oval or at a road course. The aliens on each one come out for their respective events. But we are coming around turn 4. Lights are out on the pace car. We are getting ready to go green here at Indianapolis for the Apollo Racing Club Indy 250. That pace car will take that hard left in. It's all in the hands of MLG God now. He's going to get him started early, gets a big jump out, and everybody's off to the races already. Going to jump down in front is Games in front of Eric Anescu. David McCourt making up a couple of positions already. We have our eyes on him, and everyone's going to stay. No, MLG God actually goes down into the grass, cuts it off a little hard. He's now going to have a challenge coming up from JA Games, who's going to take the lead into turn 2.
I really wonder what happened there, what caused him to go low and do a little bit of landscaping on lap 1, turn 1, but he's going to be in an all right position. He fortunately did not lose too much track position, so he's still going to be able to compete. He goes around the outside to stay out of the dirty air that JA Games is giving off. That turbulent air is really going to wash him up high, and I am not sure what's happening in the back of the field, but that heavy traffic is definitely going to be causing some problems for those racers back there, and we'll see this field spread out very shortly.
And as we end lap 1, MLG God back into second, but closing in quickly, just under a tenth of a second now. He keeps looking at that outside, but he doesn't have much help on the draft behind him from Eric Ensu. And there's a caution out. Yellow flag is out, so we will re-rack him. Looks like somewhere in the back, maybe Pop Dog. I think he must have gone around. So not even 3 laps in, and we're already pacing.
Yeah, cold tires at Indianapolis. Always a bit of a problem in the early going. EV might have also been involved as well. Might not have been a solo spin on the side of Pop Dog.
Oh.
No, he hit the wall hard. What an impact. And yeah, he wasn't the only one to get involved in it. Actually, 4 cars involved in the wreck. That is a big hit from Pop Dog, and he's going to collect a good portion of the field with him.
Yeah, not many places to go when there's a car spinning up high and a car spinning down low. So just unfortunate. Here we're going to see just pushing it a little too far by the 60, and in front of him, that's when most of the cars have already gone around. So like we said, these cold tires, just getting up to speed, trying to work with the draft, with your car, and knowing when it's going to snap on you and when you're going to stay straight. So a lot of learning already happening, and there's a bit of an ARCA brake moment there, just plowing into the back of him.
And I would say from experience that exit of turn 1 is probably the trickiest part of this track. I know a lot of people say, oh, ovals, you only turn left, but turn 1 is demonic. I mean, anytime I've had any sort of incident here at Indianapolis, it's been in turn 1. Of course, I've never had one. This is just in my imagination. I'm perfect by all means.
I was going to say, what do you mean?
But that short chute between 1 and 2 is where people really try and save it and sort it out coming out of that first corner. So a lot of times guys get loose and they run up a little high into the wall trying to catch the car, and unfortunately he collected a couple other cars there along with him.
Yeah. All right, we're going to actually cut to our very first in-car reporter for his first interview tonight, MLG God. How was your first 4 laps been?
Well, I just died on entry on lap 1, so
we
that
noticed
was it was not ideal, obviously, but it's a long race, so it doesn't really matter. Just gotta get my head back in it. Just trying to keep this car up front all race long. That's kind of my goal right now. So yeah.
So what's your strategy for today without having to reveal too much? Are you going to kind of sit there and behind JA Games for a moment, or are you going to try and take back that lead?
I'm gonna try to save some fuel, take back the lead a couple laps here, but just see how I can run in clean air and in dirty air, and make some in-car adjustments from there. But again, just try to keep it in the top 3 or 4 till the last few laps is really my goal. But yeah, just good strategy is. But I'm just kind of thinking about what I need to do, and I'll just play it by ear, really.
Well, there you go. That's all you can do for this track, at least. We'll check back in with you later on in the race, but in the meantime, have a good one. You're sitting pretty in P2 right now. Try and keep it clean.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just looking down to the bottom, Cricket Sushi, when we raced at Road America about a month ago, was up there fighting for the top. So interesting to see someone that was such a skilled road racer, unfortunately getting collected in that wreck. We do have fast repairs, so he could come back from that 18th position and maybe make it up into the top 10 throughout these 96 remaining laps. But he would be one to watch for me.
And he is still on the lead lap. He just kind of came to the pit and took the quick repair. So Beneficial for him, at least. But he has that whole train of draft to work with, too, so he's not in a bad spot, if I had to say.
Someone else I would keep an eye on that I think has been pretty competitive throughout the beginning of this season has been Matthew Rice. He's unfortunately just had a little bit of bad luck getting collected in a few accidents here and there, but I'm confident he shows strong pace here, and I think he'll make up some ground, especially if his strategy's spot on.
And we keep harping on that strategy, gentlemen, but that is truly the biggest thing here for Indianapolis. Will, what does your race plan look like if you're doing this race here today?
If I'm doing this race, it all depends on cautions, of course, right? Hypothetically, in this situation, I'm just saving as much fuel as I can, and I'm trying to stretch out that first stint as much as possible. A lot of guys get impatient in that first stint and try and pit early so they can try and make up some ground early on. But what I like to do is go for the overcut, save fuel. With the mix of people getting collected in cautions and people pitting, sort yourself to the front. As long as you save fuel and another caution comes out, you'll have made up track position for free without having to push too hard for it or get too risky and unleash your inner Takuma Sato for it. So that already puts you in a good spot. And then you kind of run off that strategy the rest of the race. You pit when you have to. But of course, if a yellow comes out, when you got a couple gallons of fuel left, you might as well take it. Nobody wants to do green flag pit stops, and it's actually very rare to do on ovals and iRacing considering how many accidents there are. So, yeah, I would just say overcut the first stint and then follow suit the rest of the race with that strategy.
All right, well, we're getting ready to start to restart here as JA Games is going to jump a little bit ahead of MLG God. MLG God trying to stay in that toe behind him. He's going to get a little bit of clean air on the outside, but he's going to mostly stick behind JA Games. He gets a big run in the short shoot out of one, though, but not able to get it to stick through two. Oh, he will actually take the outside line. Is he going to be able to make it stick? Side by side into three. Can he get it done on the outside? Holding steady. No. He does get cut off.
Interesting that MLG God was looking to take the lead here quickly, and there we see a move to the inside now. This might work a little better coming out of turn one. We talked about his first lap on turn one. Was it dangerous? Here he's going to put it in deep, try and make it stick, and he does. So he took the lead just like he said during that in-car interview.
He did say he wanted to get out there into some clean air. It's going to burn a lot of fuel, though, and he can't... I mean, if he wants to make this work, he's got to get out ahead of JA Games and try and break that toe. But being only 3/10 back, it's going to be super hard to break it for any meaningful amount of time.
Yeah, and you only really sort of break that through the corners, right? But the straights are so long here that slipstream will really just pull the guy behind ahead. And if he gets a shot at the inside, like we just saw on the previous lap from MLG God, then he's gone typically. That's how it works here.
I mean, you can see just in the intervals between the corners and the straights, MLG God gets a big run out of the corners up to 4/10 there, 4.5 ish, and then just getting sucked right back in as JA Games down to 3/10 only going into turn three here. That is where MLG God is gonna make his money, is in the corners here. He has a good line. He's getting into the apex late. So he is in a very strong position. Oh,
someone has wrecked.
Ooh.
It looks like Sir Harry slowing. A lot of cars passing him on the inside. So I wonder if he hit the wall coming off turn 8. We might have a replay of that. He's trying to get out of the way. Now he's going to dive to the bottom, and he's back up to speed just a bit. So interesting. He was running up in 7th or 8th place, and now all the way down to 14th and still getting past. Might cycle down. Oh, and he goes around.
That's going to be a caution. That's
going
to
bring the caution 9 laps in, it's already raining cautions here at Indy. Wow, I wonder what happened. He must have scrubbed the wall, and let's see this replay. Oh, he just got a little bit loose.
Yeah.
So we talked about the car snapping out of these turns, and it's so hard to predict, especially behind the car at the draft. It looks like he might have saved it, trying to get back up to speed quickly. He knows he's getting passed a lot. Here's the angle once again. He does save it, goes back up onto the track. He's slowing it down a lot. But, getting back up to speed and then coming out of these corners when you're not fully confident is going to cause some problems. And we saw it for him there with a broken wheel and a wing that's gone.
I think the major thing here is, you messed up, but you're back on track and you're clean, right? So the only thing you can really do is try and get back up to speed and stay consistent. And it looks like there in turn one, he just got a little bit greedy, maybe got on it a little too strong too early, and the rear end snapped out from under him. I mean, like I said, at that point, you kind of just got to roll with the punches, right? Now he's taking a huge hook, and he's going to have a tough time getting back into this race to compete.
Well, he might be able to stay on the lead lap here. He did not take a tow, so he's on pit lane. He managed to limp his way back around the track, and it was under caution. And it doesn't show him as oh no, it does show him as a lap down. Never mind.
Just interesting that down this front straightaway, it looked like obviously you're worried about your position. He was running up pretty high within the top 10, but I just think it was a poor decision to try and get in front of these cars and get some draft off of them. You could see he was weaving back and forth, trying to get some extra air, some extra speed. And I think overall that's what kind of turned him. So if he had just stayed straight, I think he would have been better off not sitting a lap down.
Well, second caution of the day, as we had previously said. And man, it's proving hard to keep these cars under control at Indianapolis today. Will, have you ever seen an actual Indy 500 like this?
In terms of cautions?
Yeah.
I mean, they all kind of blur together for me other than the last laps of each one. I think I've been to about 13 now as a fan.
Wow.
I've yet to work one, but this upcoming Indianapolis 500 will be my first in pit lane, so I'm pretty excited. I got to say real quick, I noticed Kiko, the number 77, his livery may be a little bit biased, but I think that's the best looking scheme out there. I don't know about you guys, but
of course you
love the pink and black. Of course, I wear it every day. Kind of my day job, but he's moving up. He's looking like Elio right now. So I'm not sure exactly where he started, but I think he's been slicing through the field a little bit. We'll have to get some green flag camera action of kind of that mid-pack there. I'm sure we'll see some good battles, but Kiko bringing the heat with that awesome AutoNation Sirius XM pink and black.
Kiko's biggest fan over here, ladies and gentlemen.
So we talked about David McCourt before the race. We talked about patience as well. We're about 1/10 of the way through this race. David McCourt has already gained a spot because of other people's mistakes. So within this top 5, I'm sure a few more are going to go down. And like we said, he's so good with strategy, knows how to fuel save. So I'm wondering if throughout this race, he'll start creeping up the leaderboard and can maybe take home the checkered flag.
Just waiting. I believe we're getting ready to go back green as we will have one to go this time by probably. I can't see the pace car. Yep, lights are out on the pace car. So one more this time by. And this is actually a really good time to mention our first sponsor of the night, and that is Grid Finder. They are our good friends, and they have sponsored ARC for this IndyCar season. Check them out at grid-finder.com. And it's the only league search tool outside of the league search in iRacing, but let's face it, that's not that great. This one helps you find what cars you want to run, what tracks you want to run, what type of skill level you're at, and it will find a perfect league for you. ARC is an approved Grid Finder league, and you will find over 1,000 other leagues featured on their site. So check them out at grid-finder.com.
So going green this time, 12 laps in. Looking at fuel strategy, obviously we've been under pacing laps for a few, so that's going to push that back to, what would you say, around lap 40?
I don't know if it's going to quite push it that far. It could for some of these guys who are on fuel save, like you said. If it were me, I'd be pulling the clutch most of the way around these caution laps, but I think we'll see guys pit around lap 32 to 35 is my estimate right now. I don't have any numbers in front of me. But that's my guess.
I definitely say with all these caution laps, you could probably extend it to 35. But even still, the question is, do you really want to extend it that long? If you can get even stints on 33 apiece, why bother? Back under green. Green. MLG God gets a late jump, but JA Games was expecting it and is hot on his tail. He might try and look for something here going into the next couple corners, but MLG God is kind of distancing him in the corners again. Look at that, up to half second already in turn 2.
Kiko all the way down to the back. He is wrecked as well.
No.
And we are yellow again.
Kiko with the great livery is gone.
You know, Will, there's something that we like to refer to in the esports casting world. It's called a caster curse, and my friend, that was your first one. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance to Kiko before I get to talk to him later. Only upside is I get excited because I get to look at the livery a little bit closer. So, unfortunately, the wall did too.
No, just got to give the fans a closer look at that great livery, huh?
You can see it from all sides on that one when he's going sideways, back forward, spinning. So, just like a car show.
He went full power slide.
Gotta just kind of deja vu it through the corner. Hard drift. Drift in an INDYCar. That's what I like to see.
So MLG's lead he had was just about a second, but now...
And now it's 8.
Now, once we get back to green, it's going to be a lot closer. So J-Game's got to get this restarts down. It seems like every time he's kind of waiting, but we've seen MLG God takes off the second the pace car goes in. So I think he should be a little closer to his rear wing when this thing gets going again.
This last time, though, MLG God did kind of hold up the field just a little bit, woeing him up, trying to make him wait. So credit to him. He is varying it up a little bit, and he's going to bluff maybe going into the pits, but he's not going to go in. Will, question for you. At this point, if you're near the back, do you just come in?
Honestly, no. I stick with the same strategy. I go for that massive overcut, and I try and let people give me track position by either spinning out or pitting before me. I'm still sticking to it.
Interesting. All right. Comrade Question is actually going to go for the undercut here. Big undercut, too. Lap 15, our first actual pit stop of the day.
And I wonder if that's because he maybe has a little bit of damage from some sort of small incident. I think it's kind of odd to pit this early. You almost add an extra stop to your race by doing that.
With all these cautions, though, he might just figure, I'll get another one by the end.
That is very true. Indianapolis is a difficult place, and not only the racetrack, so is the golf course. I can tell you that from experience as well. Everything here is just amazing, but ridiculously hard to kind of capitalize. A lot of these guys, this is obviously the race. They really want to win. If they could pick one, I'm sure most of these guys would say it's at Indy. We're going to see some guys get pretty dicey, but this has just been a slow start, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, fast into the wall, but slow starts otherwise.
You are indeed correct.
As fast as possible into turn 1, and then the wall finds you.
They're just going to send it.
Just gonna send it. Anyway. So, Nick, have you ever run here in iRacing in the IndyCar?
I have not. I am terrified of these things. I've tried them during the test drive sessions. I cannot get a feel for it. It's just I'm a watcher of the IndyCar series on iRacing and in real life. So I'm just seeing what people are doing, seeing how they're shifting, getting through the corners, using the draft, and kind of gaining knowledge that way.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I think this car is so difficult to learn for a lot of people is that throttle control. You really got to baby that throttle and be real easy on it. Speaking of babies, I want to give you guys a little bit of a fun fact. I know that sounds crazy, but But you see the turn 2 suites up there. Fun fact, that's where my baby shower was. I just got to throw that in there, I guess. Baby made me think of it.
Wait, like your mother's baby shower.
For me, yes, correct. In that building.
Man. All right. That's how you do it.
Yeah, so not bad. That's one way to plug it in there, I guess. I said baby, and I was like,
Were you made there too?
I hope to God not, but can't quite cross that off the list of possibilities.
We like to joke here, ladies and gentlemen. Except that Will's not joking.
I am definitely not joking. I am probably one of the most serious people I know. You have to be pretty serious to work on these cars for a living. We definitely never joke at all.
No, definitely not. Definitely no talk at the shop, huh?
No, none at all. We are dead silent, just nose to the grindstone the whole time, getting ready to try and go win this thing back to back.
Well, good luck this upcoming season.
Appreciate that. And the pace car pulls off as MLG God will lead the field to another restart here. Headed into lap 17 at Indianapolis. He dives down to the inside to try and break the draft from Jay Games a little bit. He's going to get quite the jump into turn 1. Takes it a little bit higher than he has on the previous laps of this race. I guess trying not to cut over the grass again on the restart. But you really see the gap open up there through those turns. That dirty air is just it's insane.
It's abysmal. And you did see he did actually successfully break the toe there for a little bit at least. Nick, back to your point. Well, actually, Nick and Will, back to both of your points about why these cars are so hard to learn. It's the throttle control, and then they also have an almost entirely different braking scheme to other cars.
They definitely do, and I've noticed that too. People really struggle with that on ovals when they spin out. They don't like to hold the brakes. All jokes aside, the braking is difficult in this car. That's why a lot of people struggle on road courses, including myself. I guess that brake trend line, whatever you want to call it, that brake trace. I'm used to looking at data. It looks a lot different from other cars. It's usually just a hard stab and then you bleed off, and it makes these cars really tricky. And if you brake a little late or you lock up a little bit and then you get a little too much on the throttle early, you're going to snap that thing right around, and it's going to be a doozy.
Yes, the other thing too, Nick, if you ever drive these cars, just remember.
And we see someone snap it around.
Already.
Another
one. That's Eric Inescu. I believe
and
just
he took
out Nick as well.
Nick Jadu, yes. Another Arca Brakes moment. They're just flying through here. Hard to get it slowed down. Cars are spinning back onto the track once they lose that extra wheel, and it's hard to control it. So we are under caution for, I believe, the 5th or 6th time so far, and we have not reached 20 laps.
Nope.
And Eric Inescu with the smoking hot spin there. Unfortunately, I don't know who that was behind him, but could not avoid Eric there. Ended up making matters worse for both of the parties involved. Looks like he just gets low and comes out of the corner too hot.
Yeah,
that was Nick Jadu.
I don't think he was expecting him to kind of come up the track like that either. Got to hold your brakes when you're spinning in iRacing. Well, just any time, actually. Not even necessarily just in iRacing. Hold the brakes if you're spinning. Another look here.
And he just takes it high around one, it looks like.
Oh, yep.
He never got down to that white line. I mean, that's kind of the trick here, both in iRacing and in real life. You kind of want to touch those inside tires on that white line, but if you go too far over them, it'll snap you. And if you're not all the way down there, you are going up into that wall.
Well, just unfortunate for Nick Jadu. He was running up high as well. But it seems like I said, David McCourt, he's just got to wait. I mean, we're 20 laps in. We have 80 to go. If he just takes it patiently, we haven't even done our real pit stops yet. Eventually, this field is going to wreck themselves out, it looks like. and
Yeah.
that'll keep moving him up the leaderboard. And
Ooh,
MLG God is
look at
headed
that.
into the pits.
Followed by Frankenfoot, too. J Games is actually going to stay out. But MLG God, he waited till the last possible second to duck into the pits there.
And David McCourt going to sort up to P3 at the beginning of this sequence.
So
Climbing
does
through the field.
that show that MLG God has the confidence that he can get back up there through the pit cycle without another yellow? That's going to be the question, whether he's going to do it under green or he just thinks if I wait them out and save some fuel during these green flags, or if they're more yellows, that I can be right back where I was without losing too much track position.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to ask him here on the next caution. We might get what his thought process was there, but I don't really know why you would pit early or pit right now. I guess all he's thinking is maybe the guys running up front or in the middle of the pack right now are going to stay clean for him, but that is an interesting move to undercut there on lap 21.
Well,
Now-
so here's another thing, though, Will. If we see... So it's like we're about anywhere from 8 to 13 laps away from what would be the normal fuel window anyway. If we see enough cautions over the course of this race, he could make it to the end on one more after this.
I think pitting early, you
It's-
kind of take yourself out of that strategy, though. I think if you push it long and the same thing happens, you definitely can make it on 2 stops. But when you pit early, you kind of force yourself to stretch those other windows. And I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off. It could be possible with a lot of fuel save, but at that point, you're going to lose a lot of position on track.
My thought was cautions primarily because, I mean, we've seen how the first 20 laps have gone. We're on what, caution 4? 3 or 4?
I would say more, but yes, regardless.
Yeah.
Is that Krieg's?
I don't know.
Krieg's just dove into pit lane as well. So he followed along with the others, saw maybe their strategy playing out, and he's in for his first stop of the day.
So Krieg's, MLG God, and Frankenfoot on a bit of an off strategy. They're going to see if they can test their luck and get something going here. I think that's a big risk for MLG God no matter what, though, because if that doesn't work out, you're not feeling good about that.
And he will be back there if it doesn't work out. He won't be anywhere near the front, I don't think.
No.
And also, you got to think the people that have been spinning and causing these wrecks coming back on the track have been around that 7, 8, 9, 10 spot. So he's right behind them at this moment, and that could be catastrophic for him if he happens to get taken out by another driver.
Yeah, getting collected would not be what he would want. I would generally want to be at the front here. Kind of feels like I'm talking about Talladega, but with the amount of wrecked cars we already have, it's definitely been a bit like that, where you're just trying to survive to the end.
Well, the end is very, very, very far away. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of pitch stops, a lot of time. So, they make an early move. It could cycle out and be in their favor, but time will tell.
Well, getting ready to go back green here. Lights are out on the pace car as we go through the short chute between 3 and 4. Will, do you think the QQ Tank or David McCourt make a move on the restart here to try to get past J Games, or do you think they kind of just hold steady where they are?
I would like to see them make a move, but given QQ Tank's recent luck, I think he's going to try and be a little bit conservative here and just stay towards the front of the pack. And same with David McCourt. He's got a comfortable lead in the championship, so I think he is just going to follow along, and if something comes his way, he might take it, but he's not going to do anything crazy here as we go green on lap 23 here at Indianapolis with J.A. Games pulling way ahead off this restart. He's already opened up that gap to about 0.7 of a second on QQ Tank,
That
and
might
he
be
is zooming.
Oh, yeah, he is. That might be enough to break the toe in a meaningful way on the straightaways. No, it's not, actually. QQ Tank is going to pull right back in there, so we might need to see JA Games take some evasive maneuvers to try and prevent that that toe from being too extreme on the straights if he wants to keep that first-place position. So meanwhile, back through the pack, Matthew Rice and Ruda having a bit of a battle at the moment as they are trading back and forth for that 4th position. Matthew Rice sucking in right behind him, going to dive to the bottom, and he's going to take it across the line.
So Ruda started in P6, passed Stewie K, got past Matthew Rice, past Ruda, and now Matthew Rice got that position back. So a bit of a scramble on that restart. They may have gotten checked up, and one guy just went underneath them. But nonetheless, they're about the same. But unfortunate that these two, while they were battling, lost those top 3 cars.
Matthew Rice trying to hold that 4th place position. But Ruda just breathing down his neck. If I were Ruda, I'd probably just hold my position for now. Kind of try and work together to get up to the top 3. And already
caution.
Another caution. I'm not sure what for. Oh man. And actually we don't even have a replay of what the cause was. We didn't see anybody take damage or anything like that. Someone might have spun somewhere. But we actually have no idea what this caution's for.
Well, we're a quarter of the way through.
Did Comrade wreck somewhere? Yeah, Comrade crashed somewhere.
So he's in pit lane. Oh, big damage. So 3 tires on that car. Like I said, quarter of the way through. A handful of cautions. And now we're talking about possibly getting into that pit window that we mentioned before. Big hit just coming out of that turn.
Yikes. Just grounded along the wall, too. At turn 3, you were talking about turn 1 and turn 3 here, Will. Turn 1's the devil, but turn 3 is definitely no fun either. And MLG God, we were talking about it. Nick, you said that he might get collected in an incident, and he almost did there.
Yeah, but good job evading that one and gets to move up a position. So, like I said, we could be seeing some cars coming out on this caution if they think a long green flag stint is about to come up. But as they try and catch this pace car, a lot of decisions are being made at the moment.
Yeah, this is a really awkward time for the caution to come out, to be honest. You're probably going to get 4 total pace laps, 3 or 4. But even still, that's just barely within like what the fuel window would typically be. So the question is, do you come in here? And I think we're going to see probably half the field take it. The leaders will probably take it. I think the other half stays out.
What do you think I'd be doing here?
So hold on a second. I'm actually going to think about this. Well, it depends. What position are you in here?
Well, from what I've said all night, I'd be staying out. You got to stretch this thing, man. You got to stretch this thing out, make up as much free track position as you can. And those guys up front, I think, are going to end up doing it right. We'll see. I think it's going to pay dividends here in a few hours when we reach the checkered, hopefully.
Well, we're a little over a quarter way, and it's been almost 45 minutes. So, yeah, things are going well.
Well, MLG got back into the top 10 after taking that early pit stop. It's just how long can he stretch it, like we talked about. He got in the train. We saw a car wreck right in front of him, but he had that draft. He was probably about half throttle right behind those cars. So I'm wondering if he made the right decision. It seems like he did with this caution coming out when it did.
No one has bit on taking the pit yet. But then again, I don't even know if the pits were open that last time around.
Going to take a moment here to recognize our other sponsor and great friend. Shout out to Driver61 for sponsoring the Apollo Racing Club iRacing INDYCAR Series. Driver61 is Europe's largest racing school that has now entered the sim racing market. So if you're interested in their services, want to get a little bit faster, want to get a little bit dicier, be able to drive around some guys you never thought you could compete with, head over to driver61.com and use discount code capital ARC, capital D, and driver61 for 25% off all of their services. So go ahead, check that out. Pretty awesome service from what I've heard. I've not used it myself. But maybe my slow pace on some tracks is telling me I should. So check that out if you feel if you feel like you want to get a bit faster.
I might use that at some point this week because I am an absolute miserable basket case around Brands Hatch this week. So I might use them this week.
Well, from the conversation we had earlier about you not enjoying Brands Hatch too much, that might be something to look into for sure.
There were several expletives involved in that conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot stand that track. I'm sorry. It just bothers me. Inverse
Well, it
camber should
probably
not be on a
can't stand
racetrack.
you either.
I mean, fair.
I can't stand all these cautions, man. I want to see some action.
For real. This certainly isn't testing strategy all that much because these front guys are probably thinking, we're going to get another caution before lap 35. I can stretch this. In fact, I'd love to see, can we get cockpit cam for J Games real quick? Okay, can we see how much fuel he has?
Don't
good
know
luck.
that we're
Good try.
going to be able to do that.
Ah, dang it.
I cannot read his screen.
But with all the cautions, I can't
it's
imagine
all
he
blanked
has
out
that much
anyway.
less fuel compared to the guys directly behind him.
I think it's all blanked out anyway, just because of iRacing spectator cam. Yeah, it is all blanked out. Very handy feature, iRacing. Appreciated. We're getting ready to come back around to the green, I believe, here, as J Games has thrown it into first gear and is ready to get this underway. Pace car is going to make that hard left, and we're getting ready to go green. J Games has full control. He's going to wait a little bit, jumps out to on the loud pedal there. Off to the races again. Restart on lap 29 here at Indianapolis. Big jump into turn one by J Games. QQ Tank 8/10 back now. That might be enough to break the toe if J Games can do it correctly. Otherwise, it's going to be some not great dirty air for QQ Tank in the back. But no, it won't be quite enough. QQ Tank is going to suck right back in to the bumper of J Games.
And before that caution, we saw Ruda and Matthew Rice going back and forth. And there it is again, Ruda pulling off the overtake on that back straightaway. And what can Matthew Rice have for him as he comes back out of turn number 4?
Matthew Rice just sitting in his tire tracks, gonna get pulled right back in as Ruda is well outside tow range now for David McCourt. It's looking like we're getting a couple groups forming here as we're gonna have the first through third, the podium, and then it looks like 5 through 8 are all within a fairly close range of each other, enough to get the tow.
Well, I'm not trying to jinx it, but I think this is when we're going to get that long green flag run here, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for the pit stops. And as we're seeing, we're right at that pit window. We saw about half the field has gone in, and most of the leaders up through about 7th or 8th place have stayed out.
So you said long green flag run. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen.
We'll see if the caster curse happens here.
Come on now. It's
Join the club.
It's
dude.
a reverse jinx. It's a reverse jinx.
No, that only works on IT equipment. Believe me. Reverse psychology works on computers. IT guy here, that's professional advice. And actually, you know who would benefit if this does go long? Hallucinogen would benefit massively from this because he's already had a stop. And he stopped fairly recently. He's sitting there P8. He's the furthest one up who has already stopped once. So he would benefit massively from this.
I think if it goes green for a while and then a yellow flies, he's in a great spot. As long as that yellow flies before the other guys have to pit, because then he'll automatically shuffle towards the front.
QQ Tank might look to the inside.
Yeah, this is the battle for the lead, so he's gotten pretty close there. And now coming out of turn number 4, he's going to try to set something up. Waiting to shift
have
up
a huge toe here.
Yeah, he's going to try and move to the outside. We know J Games is pretty confident there on the inside, so we'll see how this shakes out.
He's not going to be able to get it done. He wasn't in the toe for long enough.
And smart move by J Games to just kind of claim that inside line halfway down the front stretch. He knows that's the preferred line here. You can stick it hanging low the whole time. You let off the throttle a little bit earlier, and you're still going to end up out front there. So good move by Jay Games. Let's see if he can do it again, but it looks like QQ Tank is closing in on his attenuator, and if he takes the toe all the way down the front stretch, he may be able to pull off that little edge of speed he needs to overtake the lead of this race. But David McCourt is close behind, and caution.
Sir Harry
join
seems
the
to have
club
gone
of the
around.
curse.
The curse it is. It looks like Ruda might have been the one dropping back for that caution. He's in the pit lane already. He might have been the one who, unfortunately, was involved. Several cars shuffling around here. We'll have to wait until we have some sort of result on replay or something like that. But this is massive for the leaders, J Games, QQ Tank, and David McCourt. This is essentially a free pit stop for them.
And I would say at this point, they probably have less than 3-4 gallons of fuel. I'm pitting here. Oh, wow.
Ona D-Stack just hanging in there, was lap back actually in 20th place. I believe, who was that he tangled with? Couldn't quite see.
It looks like that's just a racing incident. One came up, one came down, and they got into each other a little bit and did some dancing.
So that's the second crash that MLG God has had to avoid right in front of him. So we talked about possibly getting tangled up in those incidents, and that's what's happened. But he has stayed in a clean race car. We're going to get the onboard view. This will be interesting. Whoa, we had to let off. Oh,
man. I bet you that's a view he's getting real tired of seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he barely squeaked by there. That was pretty impressive.
He's going to have blood pressure problems after this race.
You know who's gonna have problems is the value of Bitcoin's gonna drop after that car is involved in another incident. Unfortunately, that livery is so sweet.
Oh, it is. It's a great livery, dude. Unfortunate there, but you said it. It's a racing incident. That was the 64 of someone who's not in our scoring tower at the moment, which means he's outside the top 20. Sir Harry, there we go. Sir Harry Bitcoin.
And like you guys predicted, Hallucinogen is up to the front right by MLG God. So avoiding that tangle that we saw got him all the way up to second place and on the podium.
Now he needs to hope that this goes green for a little bit and then a caution probably. Do we have a... Can we see when Hallucinogen pitted most recently? Because that'll kind of inform when he wants to come in. And he's going to hope he gets a caution around that time. So he's going to want a caution probably around lap 40 or so. Wow, real early pit.
So really interested to see how this will all play out at the end. Obviously, this is our sixth caution, I believe. So it's going to be tough to kind of predict how long you're going to be out there using all of their fuel to the maximum capacity, or you're just pacing around. But MLG God seems to have gotten it right, pitting when he did.
What's the over-under on cautions for today, gentlemen?
13, I'll go over.
I'm hammering that over.
Yeah.
I'll actually take 15 and over.
Okay, it's got to keep going. That's 17.
All jokes. Hopefully we see some great racing here, though, and hopefully we get a good green flag run or two.
Okay, so our production has said 9 cautions, and he's taken the under on that one. So if Leachy is wrong, everybody, you must go to his Twitch, follow him, and then flame the crap out of him.
He deserves it, by the way. Just little insider information.
So we are 1/3 of the way through this, 6 cautions, and about everyone has gotten through on their pit stops, I believe. So we're setting up for a lot of fuel to be in these tanks. It's just whether or not on these first few laps on fresh tires, they're going to be feeling confident enough to send it in, but we've seen some cars be a bit overconfident and obviously cause some incidents.
I'm guessing we're gonna see at least David McCourt probably try and send it here. He's gonna try and work his way back up through the field as fast as possible. He does not want to be back there in P8. He does not want to have to deal with what MLG God has been dealing with over the last 3 or 4 cautions. Oh, that feels horrible to say. But yeah, he doesn't want to deal with that kind of slog in the back. He's going to want to be up there, close to the leaders, close enough to make a move if he feels the time is right.
Yeah, he's been dip, diving, and dodging the whole time. I don't think that's anything David McCourt wants any part of. But David McCourt, as we saw a moment ago, is in the purple again with the fast lap at this stage of the race, which I believe he's had the past couple races as well. So he just consistently showing pace on the rest of this championship field week in and week out. We're going to go green here again with a yellow car leading the field out of our 6th caution. Hallucinogen, little bit of a late start, and MLG God is going to be right on his gearbox.
Yeah, I believe Hallucinogen actually waited until the green flag dropped, which means he's going to lose out big to MLG God, who has a huge run out of turn 1, down the short chute, into turn 2, but the backstretch is where it's really going to matter. He gets right up on his gearbox and slingshots right past him, but he is holding steady as Hallucinogen. MLG God can't get it done by turn 3, but he will get it done on the inside into the short chute between 3 and 4. MLG God will take the lead.
Yeah, Nick Jadu only 0.4 seconds behind second place Hallucinogen. So we could see him catching up quickly. And now he has the help of Kriegs. So a big battle here for the front. And I think, Hallucinogen got past MLG God on the front straightaway. Our camera was not on it, but he is back in the lead and then switched back. So a good battle up here for first place.
Yeah, they're gonna battle it out a little bit here, but it might just be in Hallucinogen's best interest at this point to try and stretch this out a little bit. He's coming up on the point where he would probably want to pit stop. He's been on these tires and with that fuel for 27 laps now. He might choose to stretch it a little bit and see if he can make this go until the next caution. Because so far, everyone's single file. We might not see a caution for a little bit here. And I know, given, the fact that it's me, I'm going to be proven wrong by that any moment now.
Also joined the club. The bright yellow car and them trading back and forth P1 is kind of reminding me of the end of that 2019 Indianapolis 500 between Rossi and Pagano. It looks exactly the same with that bright yellow car. I love it. They're just they're getting dicey around each other, making moves, definitely taking full advantage of that toe. But MLG God keeps trying to stick it around the outside, allows him to kind of keep a little bit of pace up with Hallucinogen, and he will have a huge run onto the front straight. We see somebody going to the wall, and it's Nick Jadu.
Oh, good job getting out of the way. That might keep it green.
Is that going to be a caution?
Looks to be green.
Absolutely threaded.
There it is.
One caution. Oh, he tried his best. You got to give it to him.
He threaded
Almost
the needle to
managed to
get
avoid
through there. That was ridiculous.
Well, that is exactly what Hallucinogen wanted to see. Man, he was just pushing it and just got on the gas a little bit too early. Hooked it out of 4. Yeah, that is exactly what Hallucinogen wanted to see. And now that'll probably cycle MLG God back around into P1, but now he's got to start thinking about his next pit stop because his last one was at lap 20.
So there it is, nearly the top 10, but now 11 cars on the lead lap. So 41 laps in, this has taken quite the turn. I think we were expecting a few incidents early, but as this race continues, we can't get much of a stretch going on green flag racing.
Well, we were taking bets before the race on how many would end up finishing on the lead lap. We're getting dangerously close to that single-digit mark.
Yeah, prediction.
And we're almost halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, gents, just step on the gas and turn left. Not right. That's how we're getting into this mess.
Well, we saw a hard left there cutting across traffic by the Hydroxy Cut car. It kind of reminds me of when I'm late to work
Oh,
in the morning
no.
and I'm at that left turn yield. I'm like, I got to squeeze that through and cut off the car coming through the intersection. It was risky. Luckily, he didn't take anyone out, but I think that second wall hit there on the inside on pit end is kind of what brought out the caution.
Yeah, probably. He actually stayed on the lead lap, though, because he managed to limp to the pits and get his quick repair done. Now he's approaching the back of the field. Yeah, he's actually going to be able to stay on the lead lap despite bringing out that caution.
So now 12 cars on the lead lap, giving it a little 2 extra room. But yeah, MLG God, we saw him dive in early. Now it's just going to be. Yeah, I heard that in the background.
I was going to say, it's like, did anyone else hear that?
Not sure which car that was. Not sure if that'll show up on the incident report, but time will tell.
Well done.
So you said David McCourt would try and get up to the front as quick as possible. Already moved up 2 positions, but because of that collision with the wall, he's gotten to move up. And there he is in 6th place, gaining 2 from that last restart.
David McCourt looking strong again. I see here in the broadcast live chat, his wife said she will be taking a shot for every caution, and 911 is on standby. So going to be a long night for her. Apologies. I guess there's no quick repair for your liver, so be careful. This is going to be a long one. Buckle up. But David McCourt looking to make a push to the front.
Yeah, so it's like, just so you know, you might not want to just have them on standby. You might just want to be in the ambulance already. Because because probably by lap 60 you're gonna have alcohol poisoning. Just saying.
I just hope it's tequila with a bunch of limes.
There you go. While you're at it, eat the worm.
That was a tradition we had when I was in college. I went to Purdue, and we have an annual Grand Prix, 160-lap go-kart race. And before the race, 2 years in a row, my crew chief, we would be at the track at like 6:30 in the morning, found a massive worm, and he ate it 2 years in a row right in front of us. So eating the worm, that's funny you bring that up.
Would that get you motivated?
That's a tequila tradition.
It kind of got me amped up. I was pretty hyped the first year he did it. Went out into my heat race for final, I guess, last chance qualifying for the actual race. Was pretty amped up after seeing him eat and crunch on, like, dude, this worm was probably 6-7 inches long. It was a big boy. But unfortunately, they didn't fill my fuel tank after practice, and I was in the lead of that heat race and ran out of fuel. So not fun. Fuel is everything, as we will hopefully see throughout this race, because that's really what's going to shake up the strategy for this probably front 6 or 7, I would say.
Hallucinogen waited until the one to go for the pit.
You know,
extending that fuel window as long as possible.
I've got to say, this is probably one of the most interesting broadcasts we've had, given all the yellows. Some interesting conversation, for sure. We need to get MLG God back in here after the next yellow, kind of see where he's at on strategy.
Watch, now it's going to go 57 green. Just
I hope so.
Green flag stops. Let's do it. iRacing green flag stops, though. That's something that people don't typically think about. All right, folks. I believe, are the lights out on the pace car production?
Yep,
they are.
They are. The lights are out on the pace car. It takes a hard left. MLG got big jump before he gets to even the beginning of pit road. And we're off to the races again, gapping J Games by a second. That's going to be a big, important jump for him as they go into turn 1. He might be able to break the draft here.
Just under 1 second behind. Now above 1 second behind. That's going to be a lot of time that he can close up on this back straightaway.
1.3, 1.4. Caution again.
Is out.
Cricket Sushi hooks it in turn 1.
So my dark horse pick of the day is a lap down. I think that's it for me. Here's the replay of it.
Did he make it to the
Ooh.
start-finish line?
Unleashing his inner Marcus Ericsson. Wanted to do a little bit of a ramp there.
Who did he take out with him, too?
I believe that was Bourdais. That was in Crashville.
Oh, that's
But
so
in
unfortunate.
this,
Concertina.
Who did he take out?
Concertina Effect. That was the 21. I'm not sure whose number that is. But that was just a Concertina Effect there where he just... person in front of him checked up and he just did not get stopped in time. That was Ruda who he took out with him. And then got hit by... That was... I'm not sure.
And now we're even on words that we've said to each other that we have no idea what they mean. I said penultimate, I believe, in the last broadcast. What is that word you keep referring to here? I think we need a bit of an explanation there, Keegan.
What? Concertina Effect.
Yeah, I have zero idea what that means.
Okay,
We'll roll with it.
Concertina Effect is when car stops in front of you or slows down in front of you, so you have to slow down. The person behind you has to slow down. The person behind them has to slow down. Meanwhile, by the time you get to like the third or fourth car in that slowdown chain, the first one's already back up to speed. Think of it as an accordion, as our production has
That's generally
eloquently
what I
said.
would call it, but I guess you're built different and a little bit fancier than I am.
Good example. What was that Grand Prix? What was that Grand Prix in 2020?
There were a lot of them.
No, there weren't. There were only 15. Grand Prix in 2020 where restart, they checked up on the front stretch and then wrecked like half the back of the field. Oh, it was Italy. Yeah, but yeah. Our production is furiously researching at this point. Our production, Elliot Leach, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Tuscan Grand Prix at Mugello was what I was talking about. If anyone wants to go look up the video of that, it's really screwed up, honestly. Good example of the Concertina Effect, if anyone ever wants to see it.
And there in the background from this camera angle, you can see that golf course that Will was referencing. Pretty cool that iRacing modeled that, put that in the game, just to be on the track.
Maybe iRacing will get into modeling PGA golf now.
A golfing simulator.
So it looks like concertina is just a type of accordion. So I guess your brain is a little further developed.
Wow.
Yeah, I would just call it accordion. I'm very impressed with that term now, though.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you describe maybe interstate traffic the same way?
Nah, man,
yeah,
that's what the
except
shoulder's
there's a different I-95. There's a different term for it specifically with interstate traffic. I forget the actual word though. And I'm sure Elliot Leach is going to look that up too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keegan Scott, the intellectual.
I'm not going to say what my actual IQ is.
As long as it's higher than the number of cautions in this race, I think you're good.
So there it is.
Man.
10 cars are on the lead lap at the moment. Hallucinogen just took his pit stop.
Well, so it's like if you're the last one in line, you might as well pit. To be honest, there's just no reason not to, right? Although I'm pretty sure some of our back markers, if they get into too much trouble here, they're going to start running out of quick repairs. I think we have 2 for this race. Waiting for confirmation. All right, so production is sitting here telling me that I have to be louder, apparently. So, Will, how was your day?
Oh man, cautions make everybody delusional. We're going green again here. We can talk about my day
are we?
later.
Oh, there we go. Finally, there we go.
MLG God leading the field away for what feels like the 100th time with another huge jump. He is going to stretch that gap out again to J8 Games. Man, mega deja vu here. I don't think it's going to be enough this time around to break the draft down the backstretch. We're going to see a good battle between the two of them so long as we stay green. But Kriegs falls way behind there by over a second.
And it's a caution!
And caution!
There's a caution!
Hey!
So, Will,
Take
how was
another
your
shot.
day? How was your day?
My day was absolutely fantastic because, like I said, I ran a league race last night, lots of cautions, and I was so glad all day today to not have to sit through that again. But here we are, another power slide, as I said earlier. Saves it.
Ruda, another one.
I mean, you can't put on the Haas livery and not do a little Mazda spin.
There we go.
Can we call that a Nikita Mazza spin? Or are we not there yet?
Get out. Leave this booth right now.
Hey, he put the livery on. That's not my fault.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's a curse. Man, full 90. That's impressive. Stops it right there on the white line, man. 10 out of 10. Great trick. Unfortunately, this is not the place you want to do that trick. It's a great way to parallel park, though. I might have to try that out.
You ever seen The Incredibles?
No, what's that? Yes, I've seen The Incredibles.
No. You gotta parallel park like Mr. Incredible coming off the plane. Roll over and then just perfectly into the space. And if you live around me, then you won't get busted for it.
I actually don't remember that.
Really?
My brain is mush.
Well, luckily he was in the better Incredibles movie, so.
So we got another taker, MLG God. I'm wondering if we can get him in the call after this pit stop. We are halfway through this race. It has been an hour and 12 minutes, and we are having the time of our lives here.
We need a little entertainment. I think when we get him in here, we ask him to sing Back Home Again in Indiana.
Halfway.
Oh, this is a treat. Halfway through the Indy 250, everybody.
Whoa.
Nah.
That is not quite what I was going for. But that works too. It's more like, whoa, halfway there. Oh, another yellow there.
Nice.
That is very true. I am no musician. Obviously, by my lack of knowledge for concertina accordions. And looks like David McCourt's wife is having a great time in the chat.
Exactly.
Bunch of gibberish. The tequila doing its work.
Oh, man.
So is that 9 cautions we're at currently? 9.
Yeah. 9.
We are way too bored here.
Oh, man. This has gone downhill, hasn't it?
Every caution subtracts another 10 points from my IQ for sure.
So we are on pace to be done 11:30, which is exciting that we start at 9. So that'll be fun. But
hey,
hopefully people can keep it straight here for the last 49 laps.
I don't know whether I'd have to go deal with another hack of my company again.
Man, this is like
Just
reminiscent
kidding.
of the old days of the 500 where it is pretty much an endurance race.
Yeah, for real.
Get out the tube and the bottle and set it next to your rig.
I'm actually out of liquids at the moment, so I might have to, on the next caution, jump away and go get some more.
Well, it should be about 30 seconds, so you're good.
Do we make it a lap, gentlemen?
I have
don't,
faith.
I have no faith. This is crazy. I just don't really get the whole point of like trying to go crazy, like 3 wide, 2 wide, hitting people like the first turn. Like just get in a single file line, get going, get the draft.
Well, I think the problem is no one has really had a chance to settle in. So, like, it's pretty easy to keep it on the track here, in my opinion. Like, the only thing that really happens is you wash up in turns 1 and 3, right? As long as you let off a little bit earlier, you should be fine. But there's really no like bumps or anything that'll cause you to throw the car around in a circle. I just think people haven't gotten to settle in at all throughout the first half of this race, and they don't really know what to expect going into those corners, and then they're on cold tires. It's just a combination of a lot of different things.
Well, you can't
But
throw it in a
JA
circle if it's a
Games.
rectangle.
That is very true.
But anyway, J Games. He has the green flag, he has the con, and he's going to jump away from Kriegs right at the very beginning, breaks the toe as well, so he's going to have a little bit of breathing room going into turn 1, does get back in it, does Kriegs, and J Games is actually going to take this one a little bit wide. That's not where you want to be. He's going to give the opportunity for Kriegs to catch back up to him as a result.
And we've talked about David McCourt all night so far, up to 4th place, closing in on Frankenfoot for 3rd. You can see him at the end of this row right there.
He did get a couple positions given to him though by MLG God, who pitted actually under that last caution. I don't know if we were busy thinking about that or yeah.
See, I told you I don't know if MLG God's early pit strategy was going to work
we
out.
made
I
it a
don't
lap.
see how he could stretch it till the end.
Good news. We have done a lap under green. We're actually going motor racing.
Michael Massey would be very proud.
Especially with the number of cautions.
Yeah, incidents.
We joke here.
Maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Never. Pretty clean up at the front, though. These 4 are starting to pull away from the pack a little bit. QQ Tank now 2.3 off of David McCourt. So these front 4, like we've seen all day, they are the ones who are just kind of leading away, saving up some gas, staying in line. And that fuel conservation might come into play here.
That gap behind Frankenfoot back to David McCourt, opening up a little bit more as Frankenfoot's getting that toe from Kriegs and JA Games battling in front. That battle for those podium spots is going to get dicey here soon. But David McCourt is going to have to pull something off to kind of catch up to these guys. I think them battling will help him a little bit. But he's got QQ Tank following behind him, trying to do the same.
I don't think QQ Tank's really threatening him at the moment, though. As we see Kriegs, he's just happy to kind of settle in and ride around behind J Games for a little bit and save up some fuel, save up some tires.
Closing in on that gap into turn number 3.
Run.
He let off there. He's just settled in now.
That might be the right move, though. The way this race has gone, just feel comfortable where you are.
We can have a caution. Nick Jadu just wrecked. No
And
caution for the wreck. Let's go.
I don't know if he goes for the pass here. It looks like he's going to try and stick the outside, but if I'm him, I'm staying behind, right? I think they're on a very similar pit strategy. If I have the opportunity, I like to keep the toe. I like to save fuel, and I like to see what the guy in front of me does in terms of when he decides to take that next stop. So Krieg's in a good position here on lap 56. David McCourt still trying to catch up to those leaders. He's making a strong push.
He's in a good spot now, catching up on Frankenfoot, but Frankenfoot's kind of falling
Frankenfoot gets
back.
loose.
He actually locks it up a little bit, coming out of 3 or 4. Did he spin? No.
He just
keeps
got
it
a
straight.
little too far inside that white line, like I said earlier, and that's really the only way you can get the car to snap around like that on this track.
But a great onboard view from David McCourt, who now moves up to 3rd place. Like we talked about, just wait for other people to make the mistakes, and he can capitalize.
Now only 6/10 back from Kriegs. He's going to have the toe. That draft is going to be very important for him catching up to those two, but he's going to get there in no time flat.
But he is on the hunt. He's just outpacing a lot of people. He's got enough space in front to kind of keep a little bit of clean air through the corners, but still close enough to pull that huge toe down the front and back stretches there. He is reeling them in.
Mm-hmm. All 3 of our previous winners here actually are still in the race and on the lead lap. MLG God, QQ Tank, and David McCourt have all won at this track. MLG God won last season, but we have never had a repeat winner in this series at ARC. David McCourt, the furthest one up of that list, and he's trying to be the first repeat winner of the Indy 250.
Still closing it down lap by lap. Another 10th or 2 there. He's going to have a huge toe this time down the back straight. They're still a little far out in front of him.
Ooh, he does have a big push there, though. Made up 700ths just off of that.
We've got some guys in the back of the field on pit out now, so might see some lapped car action here within the next several laps. Krieg's looking to the outside into 1. They give each other plenty of space, but that just allows David McCourt to close that gap by another 2/10 that time around.
Now that everyone has settled in here, it looks like we are in a good spot to see some green flag racing for a while. Although out just in front of the leaders, I believe that is Possum? No, it's Ona D-Stack, excuse me, but he is just out in front of J Games. So he could play an important part in this battle as well. Now J Games actually has a bit of a toe off of him, and he can use him as a bit of a pick to make sure he gets Kriegs off his butt.
Yeah, I mean, J Games is really going to have to make a move here into turn 3 if he wants to use Ona D-Stack to his advantage down the front stretch. If he's able to get by him on the inside of 3, there's no way I see Kriegs being able to follow through onto that front stretch, but he's not going to have the pace to do so. So we might see something down into turn 1.
Kriegs is just trying to keep up now with J Games, and Kriegs goes low into the pits. He's going to pit early. Frankenfoot comes with him.
David McCourt stays out while he's making up that ground. Going to try and get some extra track position with open road in front of him.
And he has a great toe now off of Ona D-Stack, who J Games actually got by. But he is a lapped car that David McCourt now has to deal with. Green flag racing here for about 10 laps. Well, 8 or 9, but we're getting close to that 10 lap mark. And now we're starting to see everybody settle in a little bit. Battles are actually starting to happen. Racing is actually starting to happen. This is what you love to see right here.
It's a motor race.
We went motor racing.
It took a while, but here we go.
Now watch, there's going to be a one-lap shootout at the very end of this race, I promise.
So Will or Keegan, who have had experience doing this on iRacing and seeing in real life, we're gonna ignore. Yeah, we're gonna ignore Crooked Sushi sitting there as long as it stays green. Cool. But what are your thoughts about shifting down to 5th, maybe letting off as opposed to just staying flat? Obviously, tire degradation is a problem, but what are your thoughts about possibly shifting as we get a caution?
So generally here at Indy, if you are not drafting off of someone, you're in 5th. At least in iRacing, that's the case. If you are in the draft, you're in 6th. And then dropping to 5th through the corner where you have that dirty air, that's generally for the better option.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Will?
I would say, I mean, obviously, if you've got nobody in front of you, you can almost go flat out, but you're going to be at the top of 5th gear most likely. But I would say when you're behind someone, you can't just let off. I typically feel like I have to downshift if I'm really close to somebody getting a lot of turbulent air.
Well, we're going to get an interview with our in-car reporter here shortly, but that was a big hit by Ona D-Stack. He was at the end of the field too, so unfortunate for him. Kind of tried to pit for fresh tires, so yeah, can't even blame old tires for that one. It might have been cold tires, but those are completely fresh. There's another guy that's having a pretty good day today is Matthew Rice. He's been hanging up there around the top 5 or 6 the entire day, just having a solid race. Staying out of trouble.
And I told you all at the beginning, he'd be there competing. As long as he stays out of trouble, like he unfortunately got involved in the last several races, he's going to be competitive.
Speaking of another guy who has barely avoided trouble today, it's MLG Dog, who is here for our in-car reporter. MLG God, do you copy?
Yep, I got you guys.
Awesome. Well, so we were chatting about it earlier. You kind of pitted off cycle a little bit. Was that part of the strategy, or did you just choose to take advantage of the plentiful cautions?
Yeah, it was yes and no. I started early on out of the first couple of yellows, just calculating what I need for when I need to pit, and I just kind of stuck to it regardless of the yellows, and just trying to make numbers right now. So it's a good thing to be off sequence here at Indy because sometimes that favors you. So you never really know.
Lots of different strategies for sure. And also, Nick had mentioned it earlier that most of the incidents are happening around the 9, 10, 11 area, like 8, 9, 10 area. You were like kind of back in the middle of things, and we saw you have to avoid 2 massive incidents in the back.
Yeah.
It was just describe what was running through your head.
Survival. I knew being off sequence with all these yellows would come and bite me. There was one crash that happened right in front of me. I ended up getting some netcode contact from it, but no damage to the car, thankfully. But yeah, it's just trying to get through all the traffic and then just surviving it as well. That's just kind of just what's been going through my mind, and so far so good on that. Knock on wood, but yeah, it's just crazy out here.
Well, we've only got 7 more on the lead lap. Both of the other previous 2 winners are still on the lead lap competing with you. David McCourt and QQ Tank are still there. David McCourt's been a hard charger today. How do you think you're going to deal with that if it comes up?
I don't know. My plan is just to try and beat him. Obviously, we're in this title fight together, so just getting ahead of him today is going to be most important. I don't know if he's led any laps yet, so that's at least one bonus point he has yet to get. But yeah, just got to try and get some points on him today, and get myself deep into this championship fight now.
All right. Well, thank you very much, MLG God. You're about to go back to green, so we'll let you get back underway with the restart, and you have a good rest of the race.
All right, thank you.
Survival, I think, has been the theme of the day here, gentlemen.
I'm just wondering when these quick repairs are going to run out. I mean, we see Cricket Sushi and Ruda out of the race. It seems that they were done, but for most of these guys not on the lead lap, they're still going. So, I mean, we just hit the 2/3 part of this race. So eventually those are going to go away, and we're going to see a few less drivers here out on track.
Yeah, I think we actually, I think Onid D-Stack is basically out as well. He has critical repairs. He's probably just sitting in the lobby watching. EV is having to take a long pit, so he is definitely having to use that long repair.
And I know you say it's a race of survival, especially in these long races. It's almost like iRacing has its own battle royale. Like these guys, it's pretty much last man standing and who's able to pull off a luckier strategy, right? Because there's no way to predict when these yellows fly.
In IndyCar ovals, it is battle royale.
Definitely. But MLG God always at the front on these restarts, it seems. Again, gets another huge jump out ahead of J Games, gapping almost 2 seconds.
I think he's got a pace car in between the two too. Yeah, that's Sir Harry behind him.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, Sir Harry Bitcoin.
Oh, you're right.
That's going to still be a huge advantage for MLG God, as J Games is going to have to get past him. Several, actually. It's a lot of lap cars in there. Yeah, J Games basically a corner away at this point from MLG God. He has to kind of take the toe off the lap cars between them and try and push his way up there.
So MLG God praying for green flag laps. It looks like he will have to make one more stop if I'm correct, but with this big of a lead, once everyone gets to pit, he'll still be pretty confident being 1.5 seconds ahead of the field.
He is going to need a yellow at the perfect time, though.
I wonder when his last pit stop was.
Well, we do have the data for that. There it is.
It was around lap 50, lap 49.
He's actually coming up on a pit stop, come to think of it. He's 21 laps in. He's going to probably be about lap 80 will be when he has to come in for pit stop.
Sir Harry looked like he got a little bit loose there. This is going to be... this is probably a bit scary for MLG God, kind of racing with a back marker here. They're going back and forth a little bit. I would not be surprised to see him concede that track position just to kind of stay out of trouble.
Ooh. Every wiggle Sir Harry makes, I can guarantee you MLG God shakes.
And he is not giving it up. He claims that inside line early.
I think he wants to get his lap back in case there's a caution. However, he has to be careful not to be the caution in the process.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm MLG God, I'm in the lead comfortably. Got another lapped car behind me. I let this guy go. It seems like he really wants it. It's really not worth the risk if you're leading this race because you guys are not going to end up competing. He would filter back around to the lead lap, still in P10.
Hallucinogen dropping back through the field a little bit. I believe he's off cycle as well, similarly to MLG God. And he actually is going to pit, so yeah, he's taking that pit now. He can go to the end off of this. And that brings up an interesting point. Will, if you are the top few, do you pit now? Because they're all going to have to make at least one more.
I still bank on another yellow if I can. Given the fact MLG had to pit on green, if I am sitting in the position of J Games, QQ Tank, David McCourt, or even Stewie K and Matthew Rice, I wait for another yellow. If it doesn't fly, obviously you got to come in when you're running on it on empty. But I think you stretch it as long as you can. If you get a yellow, you obviously get basically a free stop on MLG God there, and you fuel less, so you save a little bit of time in the pits there too. So it's kind of a double whammy, double-edged sword.
Ooh, that's a wall.
He gets Man, that livery getting beat up.
Oh, and he
no,
stopped at
There's
the
the
caution.
yellow. This is going to hurt MLG got big time on the undercut. When the yellow flies right after you pit, you're kind of screwed.
I believe that was Hallucinogen who was in the pit, actually, but MLG God could have
was
been
it?
hurt by that. Yeah.
I'm totally wrong. I apologize.
MLG God could have been hurt pretty severely by that. Kiko just, man, not having a good day.
No, this is good for MLG God. Then I don't know why I was under the impression he pitted again. My brain is mush. This is good for him. This gives him a free stop, and he'll retain that lead on another restart, and he'll be good till the end of the race. So
Do you think everybody pits here?
I would venture to say so, unless I don't know where those guys in 2 through 6 last pitted. I'm sure they're coming towards the end of their window. As we see there, they pitted 10 laps ago. I would say it would be a gamble to pit now. You're going to get set back a little bit, but it's also a gamble to try and stay out and wait for another caution. But if you're trying to win this race, I think you stay out.
Man,
I don't know,
Matthew
though,
Rice,
because
Matthew Rice, I think. Okay, so Matthew Rice stays out. Guarantee it. He can go to the end, almost certainly.
You think? You think he can go 34 laps?
Yeah. So the typical fuel window extends to 33. Add caution laps to
these
that.
These guys could be good to go then.
Yeah, the 65s and 66, they could be good. We know MLG God's going to have to stop at least one more time.
And if he doesn't stop here,
and he isn't.
He's playing a risky game.
QQ Tanks in as well. Jay Games and David McCourt, they say out. They're going to go to the end.
I don't know, guys. I don't see this playing out well. I know on paper, on their little, dashes, it might say their projected fuel looks good, but with the fuel window at max being 33 laps, pitting at 65, maybe you add a lap or two under caution if you're putting that clutch in. But I'm wondering if they get to 96, 97, and they're running on fumes and can't make it. So, one more caution would definitely secure it, and everyone would be fine. But if this stays green for the last 25 laps, I'm not sure they could do it.
I'm telling you, if there's another caution, my pick to win, it's going to come as no surprise. But it's either David McCourt, Stewie K, or Matthew Rice. I know that's 3, but they are all. My point is, they're all going to have a tow. I think David McCourt is in a great spot. But the problem is, if Jay Games concedes that lead, whether it's on purpose or just throughout racing, David McCourt's going to struggle for fuel. And those 2 guys behind, and Stewie K and Matthew Rice, are going to be on the hunt to be able to save that fuel in the draft. They may be able to stretch it to the end so long as we do get another caution. Now, if we don't, they will likely have to pit. And I think MLG God would obviously sort to the front there unless any of those front 6 guys take a gamble. And I don't think they can save enough fuel to make it to the end without another caution.
Well, Kriegs and Frankenfoot definitely can't. Unless we basically caution from here out, which is possible.
Yeah, wouldn't be the most surprising, but...
Yeah, but Matthew Rice is almost certainly good to the end, considering this caution, and if we get another one, it's 100% he's good. J Games, David McCourt, and Stewie K are probably good to the end. I don't know. Will, I'm going to default to your expertise here, but in my book, especially if we get another caution, are they good?
If we get another caution, those guys in P2 through 4 are golden. Sitting out front, you're just a sitting duck in terms of fuel. Especially if you're giving the guy behind you a draft, he's going to be able to save enough to make it to the end. But they do need that caution. It's going to get real interesting. I would obviously put my money on a caution or 2 or 3 happening before we reach checkered. So I think they're in a good spot. MLG God is going to need some luck, and he's going to need everyone else to have good luck and stay out of trouble the rest of this race if he wants to win this thing.
So looking at Krieg specifically in P5 right now, we saw, as we said, 6th on back through 9th. They all took the fuel, so they're going to make it. but it's just Krieg's up there in 5th. Does he think that if there's another caution, he could get in then and maybe the front few will pit, or should he have pit and he may have missed his window of opportunity?
Well, at this point, the track position for P5 is not really that big of a deal unless you're going for an overall points run. But he might have missed his window. He's got to have probably at least one more, preferably 2 more cautions to even be able to make it on fuel saving.
But
so Krieg's, that's a big gamble.
Krieg's is in the same boat no matter what, almost, right? He's either gonna have to pit late on green flag if we stay green and he's gonna drop to the back, or he's gonna have to pit and the other guys won't and he's gonna drop to the back of that lead lap. So I think either way he's kind of in the same spot. I think he takes the gamble for another yellow and tries to stay with those guys ahead of him.
Yeah, but that is something we need to count on there. J Games, he gets a big jump because he has 2 lapped cars behind him. He's going to jump out ahead of David McCord, but now he is all alone, burning a ton of fuel. Stewie K, he's going to hang around the back there. I'm certain that him and David McCord are just going to kind of hang out together for a while. They're not going to race too hard. They're just going to be trying to catch up to J Games and then hold their position for as long as they can. Wait for those last 3 laps or so and then make a move then. Unless we have a caution beforehand, you know.
Which we do,
that
I believe.
Too.
So
yep, we do.
Everything we just discussed is out the window. It doesn't even matter.
I mean, I just don't think you're in a good position if you're J Games sitting out front right now. Like, nothing good can come from it. You're either burning fuel, more fuel than everybody else behind you, or you're pitting an MLG God sorts to the front if those other guys follow suit and pit as well.
Oh, Onid. He took out someone else, too. I'm not sure who that was.
So he was the cause of the last... He was the cause of the second to last caution, I believe, and here he is again. I mean, if you're going straight into the wall off the turn, you kind of got to let off. I'm not sure what he's thinking, but that is a bit inexcusable, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't see who he took out, though.
I couldn't either.
Do you know if we could get on board with that incident and see it from that angle?
Yes, because that helped.
Look at this.
Record scratch, freeze frame.
Boop.
Okay, we're going to try that one more time.
So, again, feel free to go over to our production's Twitch. Talk a little smack like Keegan mentioned earlier. It's a rough night for all of us, but we're making it through it. So thanks for sticking with us. For those of you watching on stream.
All right, this is forensic iRacing replays, everybody.
Wow. Yeah,
okay.
You're fired.
Well, we can assume
you're fired.
He was
Go
hit
ahead and,
by somebody.
Yes. There was an incident that occurred between 2 cars. That's what we know.
So can we just go ahead and say production was not able to get a replay, blah, blah, blah. It didn't record as an incident. We're good. We're on to the next restart, which... What restart are we on now? 13?
I think 12. Just taking guesses.
12. So we know we're going to hit 13. That unlucky number 13 is going to be seen sometime before the end of this race.
Confirm 12. Keeping a mental
12.
note, unfortunately.
12 angry men. Well,
David
some
M's
of them were
wife
collected
is-
multiple times.
David M's wife is not feeling good right now. David, I'm so sorry for the vomit you have to pick up.
Might have to go out and buy another bottle of whatever you're sipping on in the next caution. Got to keep that train rolling.
But on the upside, I mean, David's in a great spot to win this right now. Why is he rolling in first gear, though? He's confident.
I'd be rolling in first on map 8 and clutching in through all the corners.
I'd be doing what Jay Games is doing right there. Holding it in 6th.
If I didn't have clutch paddles, I would. But iRacing actually does all of its fuel consumption off of throttle input. So if you're in 6th gear, you got to speed up to catch the pace car. You will have a longer throttle input and burn more fuel. Fun fact, the more you know.
Wow.
That's good to know.
good insight for if you're doing a little bit of eye pacing.
Well, you know what? This week, pacing has been an absolute nightmare for me. Not saying I'm the one having issues with it, it's just everyone else behind me seems to have issues with pacing. So, good practice. Good pacing practice here.
Yeah, it seems like when I'm on pace laps, when I race myself, people are somehow very intrigued by my attenuator and my gearbox, and they like to touch it when they can. So I don't have the greatest luck either.
Is he going to get a penalty for that, Onan? He passed the pace car.
I think that's
Wait.
Kiko.
Is that?
It
oh,
is.
that's Kiko. Okay.
Can't forget that beautiful livery, man.
That's true. That's true.
Again, I'm totally unbiased. I do think
Right through the grass.
I do think our pink on top of black looks better than that one, though. But that one is still pretty sweet. And production is telling me I'm pretty sweet. I don't know about that. What would be sweet is to win this race and drink some milk. Maybe we can get one of these guys to go ahead and do that after this race, but it's still all up in the air who may be drinking the milk in real life or maybe virtually, but we have no idea what's going to happen here. Another caution will likely fly, and if it does not, MLG God is in a great spot.
The only milk I'm drinking after this is a White Russian.
Not a bad choice. If you're not Russian, you're stalling. That's what I always say.
Oh, God. Well, we're getting ready to restart here. Pace car is going to take that hard left into the pits. J Games is going to set us off once again for restart number 12 here from the Indy 250. Only 80 laps in, but he's going to lead off the next two lapped cars, and we are green, green, green for the next 20 meters.
I wish it was 20 laps, but you're probably right.
Green through 1 and 2. That's an accomplishment.
Well, for the leaders, so far.
Even McCourt's actually making up a lot of time here. Already made up about a half a second. We're not even done with the lap yet.
Yeah, but if he can dive down to the inside, I think he's going to get a big run with the help of Pop Dog. Excuse me, that's not Pop Dog. I saw the green livery. But he's going to get around
a person.
him.
Is he pushing him to the outside? He's a lap down. I think that...
We have seen things that are very unexplainable tonight, so I'm not surprised.
That is Pop Dog. Ay, ay, ay.
It is. So Pop Dog a bit aggressive there on the restart. Didn't want to lose that position for no reason, but we continue.
Anyway, David McCourt knows that this is his time to get up there. He can't really afford, if there's another restart, to have these two cars separating him and J Games. And if there's no other restart, he needs to pick them off as soon as possible, and that's exactly what he's doing. Now only 7/10 back from J Games.
We mentioned Matthew Rice earlier. Here he is in 5th, trying to make a move on Stewie K. We'll just stick behind him for the time being, but can definitely get something going.
And it looks like our bets are going to get paid out, boys. We've got single digits on the lead lap, and there's 4 cars out of this race.
And the caution flag!
And there's a caution. And
13.
it's QQ Tank!
No!
And that will
former
put a couple
winner goes down.
More on the lead lap, or no? No, they'll still stay a lap behind.
Oh, he just nicked the wall.
Oh, man.
Man.
So when you're driving these cars here, can you gauge when you're going too fast and you're going to barely touch the wall, or are you just kind of hanging on for the ride?
If you can't get down close to that white line, yes, you know you're going too far and you're going to have to let off. Sometimes I even have to kind of drag the brake like the slightest bit through one just to make sure I don't kind of wash out.
Ugh.
Yeah, he would have known that he was in extreme danger of touching the wall there and would have let off. But sometimes it's just the slightest touch, especially in these cars that can lead you to
we're
going
wrecking
to what
under
the heck
caution.
happened under
We're
caution?
wrecking under caution. Further back in the
Freaking
field.
excellent.
Oh boy. trying to get you to that action.
We're
Slowly
all right.
but surely.
Production's having a hard time, everybody. So are we all. Our camera
here's
goes
the
bouncy,
replay.
bouncy, bouncy. Eric Inescu from Canada. He pulled the big sorry into the outside wall.
It's ironic they're going like 1/4 the speed and still having issues, I'd have to say.
What the?
It's been a long night.
And I have since stepped up to vodka. Oh
Well-
boy, this has been a fun night. Hey, 15 laps to
Yeah.
go, gents.
We're almost over.
We're probably going to restart with what, 13 to go?
Yeah, and then 11, and then probably like 7. Man, I'm getting tired. Again, we appreciate everyone on stream sticking with us, trying to make it entertaining for everybody. As long as you can deal with our jokes that some may consider unbearable, including myself. But I love it. I love it. I'm having a good time.
Dad jokes, that's just what I do. I'm not even
They're
a
not
dad.
even dad jokes. They're just bad jokes.
Fair.
Got him.
It's what we do best.
Does this race have a time limit? It's actually a very excellent question that our production is going to go find the answer to. Oh
If he's
my, yes it
able
does.
to.
This does have a time limit, an hour and 55-minute time limit.
Oh my gosh.
And we're 13 minutes from it at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Wow. This is going to get even more interesting than we
My
thought.
bet is in. My final bet is in.
You think we end due to time?
Yeah, but my final bet's in on David McCord. He's going to make a move. If he knows there's a
Okay.
time limit and can see that, he's making a move.
Well, he has one lapped car to get by before he can make that move onto J Games.
He will get a huge run if he's able to line it up. It's good timing. Otherwise, J Games is looking pretty good. As long as we have another caution or two, looks like those guys will be able to stay out.
Yeah. We're going to restart with 14 laps remaining. "14 laps remaining, probably 12 minutes remaining at that point. That's enough time to get around, but another caution, and this will not finish due to laps. It will finish under time.
Has this happened before? With this league?
That's a fantastic question.
Our
It's never
productions will
happened in
find the
my
answer to
long
that.
2 months of experience commentating.
Wow.
Hey, Leechy, another question for you. Has this ever happened that it finishes under time instead of laps? Can you ask MLG God that for me, please? Thank you very much. As he bounces out of the call again. Big shout out to Leechy, by the way, who has been a fantastic production guy today, and we've been abusing the crap out of him, but he has just been awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome week in and week out. We got a pretty solid little crew here. Like I said, trying to keep it entertaining for everybody throughout this long eye-pacing 250.
Oh, wow.
So there we go.
There it is.
Leechy actually did just inform us that we have never run over the time limit in Apollo Racing Club before, so this could be the first time this ever happens. And if that lap car has any respect for the lead battle that he is in the middle of, he will jump down to the inside to get out of the way of David McCourt, who has something to say to Jay Games. No, he's going to stick with him, and David McCourt's going to get left a little bit high and dry as Jay Games gets a good jump off the beginning. And now, with about 10 minutes remaining and 14 total laps remaining, including this one, we get back underway. And caution again.
The time limit.
So this will finish under time limit, but how far do you think we're going to be able to go here?
We're witnessing history. This is amazing.
Who is, sorry to interrupt with a totally different topic. Who is that lapped car running second on track?
I think it's Comrade Question.
Is it? So he's trying to get his lap back, which would put him in contention. I mean, he's going to retake P8 probably with Stewie's accident. But man, yeah, I'd really like to see those two up front, and I guess MLG got if he gets let by as well to battle a little bit.
And the Red Bull livery goes around.
I would very much like to see Comrade Question jump out of the way of the lead pack
quick
here,
question, everyone.
honestly.
This is Will, one of the commentators. I
would
don't
be
know
kind of my
all the
ideal.
rules necessarily.
So does fuel even matter at this point? I mean, where are we at in like a real racing standpoint?
Fuel does not matter. Anyone who pitted lap 65 or later 100% has the fuel to make it to the end of the laps. Even at this point, whoever pitted on lap 61 also might have enough fuel to make it under laps. However, we're not going to finish due to laps. We're going to finish due to time.
Unbelievable.
Those lap cars in between will be filtered to the back, so we should be able to get some good racing between those guys up front, hopefully, if there is another caution. If there isn't, I'm not sure if Jay Games and David McCourt have been able to save enough fuel under all these cautions to make it to the end.
You think? I mean, we're not going to finish under laps. We're going to finish under time. That is basically a certainty at this point.
I mean, yeah, we're going to finish under time, but yeah, I guess you're probably right. They probably do have enough fuel to make it to the end. And we will make it inside 10 laps, but we'd have to take another caution for them to get sorted to the back. And at that point, like you said earlier, probably green, white, checkered.
You know, when I said one lap shootout at the end, I was not actually being serious. But
We're working up to it.
We knew
slowly.
that. You're never serious.
no, I'm Keegan.
I can't take this anymore. I can't do it.
An hour and 48 minutes later.
These are the jokes, folks.
I hate that rhymed.
These are the
Kind of.
jokes, folks, so yoke it up or go broke.
Oh, man. You need help.
I just poured my drink on me. Now I'm soaked. I'll stop. Sad. Ah, man. So we're going to restart. Probably one to go here. We're going to restart on lap 91. So any caution from here on out is going to filter that lapped car back. But then there's also the fact that we're probably going to restart with about 5 minutes remaining in the race.
Amazing. I don't think anyone... I mean, this has never happened here before, so... It is a long race,
Oh, he's getting filtered back now.
Oh, there they go.
Yeah, they're getting filtered back now.
Just like the Formula One finale. Get the lap cars out of the way. Let's go motor racing. So David McCourt would be Max Verstappen in this scenario. and we'll see if he can pull it off.
So we're going to have
right at 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did I read your mind there?
Yes.
No, actually, I was going to say we're going to have probably a 2-lap shootout. 2 or 3 lap shootout to the end, assuming we have another caution.
I believe we'll have a caution that'll end it.
Probably.
These guys are going to have to make some moves before something shuffles in the back. This is what I'm saying, man. David McCourt, he's got to get a great restart here behind Jay Games to make something happen.
Coming out of 4, he's got to tuck up right behind his gearbox.
You got to get that inside line, too.
Is Jay Games going to start on the inside? No, he wouldn't. Okay, he's going to start on the outside. Good. All right, folks. We don't know how long it's going to last, but it's Jay Games versus David McCourt with MLG God still in the mix there. Who's going to take it? Out to a jump is Jay Games. Big jump. David McCourt wasn't ready for it, and he has MLG God breathing down his neck, too, for P2. David McCourt has something to say about this, though. He's going to start catching up to Jay Games. It's a 3-man battle for the win here at the Indy 250. All 3 tucks right up behind one another. David McCourt swings to the outside. He's going to try and make it stick into 3. Is he going to complete it before then? Yes, he will actually have it. No, he won't. Jay Games keeps the lead for now.
Oh, and he's going to concede that to MLG God on the inside because he'll get a huge toe. Oh, man.
He's got to make it stick here. Otherwise, that's going to be the thing. It's going to get a toe on the side of MLG God. No, they're going to try and make it 3 wide.
David McCourt is right there. Goes wide into 1 to keep out of the dirty air and get a massive run behind Jay Games down the back stretch. We've got 3 minutes left in this race as David McCourt tries to take the lead into turn 3 again, but that high line is just not working for him.
No, it's so hard to make that stick here at Indianapolis, especially later on in the race when the tires are starting to go away, and he's definitely experiencing that now.
And MLG got on the prowl in 3rd place right behind them, keeping up, but it's just whether or not when that position will open up as he looks to go low, try and get a big runoff here.
McCourt's got to claim that inside on the backstretch if he wants to make this thing happen. He keeps looking outside, though.
Well, I think it's Jay Games not giving him that inside. He knows there's not too much room, and if he gets squeezed down even more, bad things are going to happen once he touches that grass under that white line. So I think he's kind of playing his game. He knows there's 7 laps to go, 3 minutes to go. He can make something happen when he's ready.
Oh, this might be the run here. David McCourt, he's going to look inside, outside, forces Jay Games to go low. He would have beat him there to the line.
So not only do we have the race between these 3 guys for the lead, but we have the race against the lap counter versus the clock. This could still finish at the lap count if it continues to stay green the whole way. But they are fighting so hard, I would be shocked if there's not any sort of contact here.
MLG God looking to the outside. They're going to be 3 wide. MLG God distance. And there goes David McCourt. What he didn't want to happen, pushing it way too hard. Once he sent it 3 wide, I don't know if he knew he was on the outside, but that is going to cause some problems between those 2. And look at that. Jay Games pulls away for the, 14th caution of the day, still in the lead.
And that, I believe, will end it. MLG God went to look on the outside, tried to make it 3 wide, make a big run into 3, but a big attempt to block on the outside by David McCourt. And they take each other out.
And I'm not sure if that was David McCourt trying to play defense or trying to stay out of dirty air there through turn 3, but that's not something we usually see from David. A little bit shocking there that he just shot out wide there.
That was aggressive one way or another.
I mean, the last few laps he had been doing that to try and stay out of the dirty air and get a run down the stretch. So it's very likely that he might not have seen MLG guy, but at the same time, he's a good driver. we know he's aware of his surroundings because he manages to stay out of what seems like every accident throughout the other races. Can't really tell there. Maybe he just misjudged the closing speed that MLG God had on him.
But nonetheless, that is going to do it. J Games with 13 seconds left. The first time ever for Apollo Racing Club in this league that the time limit will expire.
And will we get one more lap? Or is this going to be checkers?
It's the final countdown.
No, we will get one more lap.
I think it's pretty fitting that we get to pace one extra lap right at the end here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And just maybe give him some time to let it settle in of what just happened. I mean, MLG got forcing it 3 wide. J Games stuck to that bottom that whole time. You were talking about when was David McCourt going to go low. J Games just held the bottom, and it worked out for him. So
when
it was
the last
about
time he
fuel
pitted?
in the beginning, and then it was about car placement and position at the end.
Just want to be sure. Okay, he has enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know it's a long shot, but since he's been leading that whole way, I know we've had a lot of yellows, so he's probably had a great opportunity to save a ton of fuel. But off chances he doesn't, this would be crazy. I mean, I think he'll make it. I'm just saying, you can't rule it out quite yet.
Interesting that MLG God in the final standings will finish above. Oh, as I say it, David McCourt does overtake MLG God in the pits because David McCourt came out. I think MLG God is still in there. So
it's going to be a race out of the pits for that position then.
Yeah.
And that's actually the race right there. David McCourt will get out in front of MLG God, probably at a shorter pit. Required repair. He just wants to get out here and finish on track.
What a way to end it. We were talking about when that big move was going to happen. You said last lap shootout, we were 4 laps shy, but forcing it 3 wide into such a dangerous spot of the track was not going to work out. But you got to argue if David McCourt had kind of stayed in that middle line, it may have worked out, but we'll never know.
That was a huge move by MLG God that probably wasn't going to work no matter what. But we're coming back around to what will probably be the checkered flag as we end it on time. Yeah, that's the checkered right there. J Games now officially takes the Indianapolis 250 for Apollo Racing Club INDYCAR iRacing Series Season 5, and still no repeat winners.
And
I just want to say, did Sir Harry actually finish P2? That's pretty incredible if he did. He had 2 major incidents, used those fast repairs. We remember he was fighting MLG God to get his lap back off one of those restarts, and he did. That is pretty crazy that he was able to manage that comeback in this race.
Yeah, and Will talked about Matthew Rice there getting that 3rd spot on the podium. So good job to all the drivers here today. But J Games with the win. What a great job.
Yeah, and just completely unexpected ending for that to go that way. And Sir Harry Bitcoin gets P2. Completely unexpected finish.
Well, we did it.
David's wife has been, drinking this whole time because she might need a couple more after that ending. All right, folks. Well, we're going to get you some interviews with our podium placement drivers here. The first one to come for the interview is Matthew Rice. Congratulations on the P3, good sir.
Thanks. I don't think I passed a single car out there on track. I don't know how that happened. I think I let more cars pass me than I passed. It was just a war of attrition out there. That was really long. I don't know what you guys were talking about that entire time. I definitely appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, that was the story of that race for me. Was just keep my nose clean, don't try to get any incidents, and mostly did that.
I just got to say, we, or at least I did, I made it a point to mention you earlier on in the broadcast. You'll have to filter back and go find it. But I mentioned that you've had some pretty rough luck throughout the first half of this season. You've been competitive, but there's been a few shaky moves that some people have made on you. And I was banking on you to have a good race here. Figured if you stayed clean, which you did, you'd finish well. So congrats on that podium. I just want to throw that out there. And like you said, I mean, you may not have passed many guys on track, but you stayed clean and it paid off today. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the season, racing, it can be a harsh mistress, but I mean, that's part of the fun story about it all. So yeah, you got to take the good with the bad.
Well, yeah, congratulations on that one, dude. And it's good to finally have some good luck going your way, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got a podium on the first race, Coda, and then this one now. So I'd love to get a silver or a gold at some point. No more of these bronzes, but yeah, it's been going good.
Well, congratulations on the P3 at least. Hopefully you can snap that third place streak in the next couple races. Have a good night and enjoy your good fortune.
All right, thanks a lot. Much appreciated.
We were talking about he was having a solid race the entire time. It was good to see. But now we have our second place in the race driver. It is Sir Harry Bitcoin. How are you doing? And congratulations on the P2.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm doing okay. The first half of the race was pretty terrible for me. Don't know how I ended up second, but I'll take it.
Didn't you have a wreck at one point?
Oh, I had 2 wrecks. I spun out on my own and then made some contact with not sure who, but yeah, wrecked twice. Used both my fast repairs, so it was quite the comeback drive.
Yeah, man. I made it a point to mention that Bitcoin's highly volatile, and that value was dropping down there early at the beginning of the race. Luckily, you had the fast repairs, and you were able to get back into it. Was absolutely shocked to see you come back to P2, which is awesome. The way that played out. So props to you. Kind of, how did you manage to make it back up to there? We weren't really able to see much of your action on track from your view. Kind of any passes you made or anything. But what was that like?
Yeah, it was kind of just slow going. A lot of passes when I was a lap or 2 down, and then just eventually got up to the point where I was sitting behind MLG, and I knew if I got by him, eventually a caution would come out and I'd be able to get the wave around. And then that happened. I made a pretty aggressive block on him to stay in front, but the caution came out right away. So, it was a tough one, and I didn't think I was going to come back to this, but sometimes you gotta be lucky.
Yeah, we noticed that too, how you were battling him to get your lap back, and I was kind of like, if I'm MLG God, I'm conceding that position. Let him have his lap back. Whatever, you're in the lead, man. Like, don't do anything that could cost you your own race, but you did manage to make it back, and obviously it paid dividends.
Yeah, for sure. Up and down race for sure, but glad to be P2.
Well, it definitely worked out in your favor. Congratulations on your P2, Sir Harry Bitcoin, and we will see you next week. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And last but not least, we're going to have our winner today. Probably an unexpected winner, but our winner at the Indy 250, it is JA Games. How are you doing after that fortunate win, my good friend?
I was just such a long race. I'm a bit shattered. It's like 4 a.m. here, and I've just won the Indy 250. Well, 240, whatever it was. But it was great. It was just just sort of keeping mental focus because there was so many cautions, and there was like little bits of racing in between, and it was just about sort of keeping my strategy safe. I was surprised MLG pitted on the final time he pitted because I thought there's probably going to be more cautions, but maybe he was short on fuel. I rolled the dice, and then by the end it wasn't really an issue. The fuel game wasn't going to be a problem, but that final restart was intense. Holding David off, don't know how I managed that, but managed to do it. And then apparently, I watched the replay after, and unfortunately him and MLG collided, and that gave me the win. But is it unexpected? Probably when you look at the standings. I mean, I've been away for 3 weeks, but I probably should have won more races in my time here. But I just unfortunately always seem to get caught up in incidents. And today, thankfully, I never got caught up in an incident, and that's why I stand here in this little commentary box as the winner.
Oh, man, your voice sounds a little scratchy. You might need to drink some milk to celebrate this win. But what I was wondering the whole time was obviously you pitted, I believe, around lap 65, 66. And I know you mentioned fuel. Sitting out there in front, you're burning quite a lot of fuel. What was that number you finished on? Do you know?
I can't remember. It was like 6 or 7 liters. It was far too much. If we'd played it out from that final, well, when I pitted and that restart had gone the whole way, I don't think I would have made it. It would have been very close. I probably would have needed cars in front of me. But I just assumed that we probably would get a caution or two in between, and then I was watching the time and I thought, we could end up with a time race and then that takes laps off, and obviously that's what's happened. But essentially, it was in my, it's calculated like, okay, this is my final stop, that's it, it's over. What happens from here happens, and luckily it rolled in my favour today.
Yeah, well, congrats on the win. I was going to ask, too, during those last few laps when you were battling with David McCourt, were you purposely holding on to the bottom of the racetrack, not wanting him to get underneath you, or were you just kind of seeing where he would go and adjusting accordingly?
No, you nailed it there. I just held the bottom. I just know. I mean, there was one lap where he picked me at the line, and I could see in his head he was probably thinking, I'm going to get him at the line in the final lap. But if I hold the bottom, I know I'm probably going to come out the corner in the lead. And that's all I could really do. Because if you're on the outside, it's just not really viable. So, yeah, it's just like, hold the bottom. What he does, he does. If he gets past me, that's done it. MLG came in, he tried to make it 3 wide. David probably didn't see that. They collide, and, win a chicken dinner.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man, that was an awesome finish. But we were wondering if you were sticking that bottom line like Nick just asked. Obviously you were. You can't stick it outside here. We were wondering if McCourt would try and make a move to the bottom, but you really didn't give him the opportunity, and that's what got you the win here. So thanks for sticking through it, and big congratulations to you. Awesome to see you pulled that one off.
Thank you. It's like I said, it was a long race. I didn't always stuck with it. I hope you enjoyed the finish, and we'll see what happens from here. I had to miss 3 rounds due to work commitments. So, can I get back in this championship? Maybe because of the way the points are this year. But I'll pretty much need to win out the season here. I know that's not really realistic, but I'll enjoy today. It was a long race. It's just nice to have that win because it's like I said. Before everything was broadcast, it was races last year I probably should have won, and I always got caught in something towards the end. It was very frustrating. It was almost like I was jinxed in this series, but today it just all came off finally, and hopefully it keeps going like that, get a few more wins, see where I finish. So, enjoying the racing.
Well, it's certainly been enjoyable so far this season. Thank you so much, J Games, for your race today. Thank you so much for the interview as well, and go enjoy that big old W.
I will do. I'm going to bed actually.
yeah,
Far
get to
too
bed.
late here.
It's like 5 a.m. your time. Get to bed.
I know exactly. That's it. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, go drink some milk. Get out of here. Congrats again on the win, man.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
gents.
that was it. Awesome.
History has been made here at Apollo Racing Club tonight, guys. Apparently, we finished on time instead of on laps. We had 96 laps, but it was still on time.
Amazing. It just seemed like every single time there was a caution, we'd see the replay, it was a different car. Like, it wasn't like one person and then they kind of, don't have as many fast repairs. It was just constantly different people losing it, going too fast, going too slow, crashing. But at the end of the day, we have a winner. So that's all that matters.
And a very close race at the very end. And I really do not envy the jobs of the stewards at this point. I can imagine that incident report's going to be,
Yeah.
at the very end.
I mean,
pages,
everything
a few
about
pages.
tonight was just grueling. Ended up at exactly an Indy 240, but still very pleased that we got to finish on some good racing. It was obviously likely that someone was going to try and make a move that would probably cost them their race, and that's what we saw happen. So it shakes up the standings a little bit, but we move on to next week to Monterey, California at the wonderful WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, one of my personal favorites. Just got to throw this out there. I will not be in the booth next week. You'll see me on track. So hopefully I'm not one of those guys spinning it all the time.
Yeah, try to avoid the corkscrew shuffle is what I like to call it. Brakes exist, just so you know. Yeah,
We'll
so
try
he will
and remember
actually,
that.
So he will actually be our in-car reporter next week, everybody. So wish Will good luck next week. You'll see me on track later on in the season, but that's all we've got for you tonight, everybody. So thank you very much for coming out to the Apollo Racing Club IndyCar Series on iRacing. This has been Keegan Scott, Will, and Nick bringing you the action tonight, signing off. Have a good night, everybody.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need you to survive. Whoa, I need you to survive. 'Cause without you by my side, I can't survive. And this can be the end. I won't just say